On this episode of the Mad Rush podcast.
So many times I'll work with a client and they'll look fabulous and they'll look in the mirror and every woman has a tell. I can tell when they love it. They'll immediately love it and then they'll hone in on that one area that they don't like because we all have them. And they'll say, oh, this makes my stomach look big or my thighs look big. Like nobody cares. Nobody thinks you're that special that they're going to dissect your outfit like you're going to because they're too focused on their insecurities. So if you are not wearing something that you love because your one toe is longer than the other, you're just missing out on so much of the fun of getting dressed. And getting dressed should be fun.
Welcome to the Mad Rush podcast. I'm Trisha Addicks, the original Sorority Rush consultant. While the stories I have to share are nothing short of astonishing, this podcast goes beyond the wild client tales and sorority life. I'll be engaging with fascinating guests from both within and outside the Greek world, uncovering the surprising connections that bind us all together. Join me for a journey that's as entertaining as it is enlightening. Welcome to Mad Rush. Y'all, I am so excited. My book, The Rush Bible, is available for pre-order from Simon & Schuster. It's coming out next May, but you can order it now, and it's going to be great for anyone who's considering going through Sorority Rush. This is the book for you. You can order it today. The link is in the show notes, and it's also on my Instagram at Rush with Confidence. And I can't wait to get this great information on how to crush Sorority Rush out to all of you. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I appreciate you. Today, I am joined by my new friend. We met at the Southern Coterie, which is, explain what the Southern Coterie is, Kam.
A network group of women, and we go and we learn from other women. But the biggest takeaway that I got is so many powerful women doing cool things, and they would meet you and they would say, what do you do and how can I help? And I just found that to be very refreshing.
Yes. And the connections, which is the buzzword for this podcast, if you listen to the podcast, and if you do, thank you very much. But the connections that are made there are really amazing. I've had several women that I met there on this podcast, and connections, if you know, it's the word that you would drink to on Watch What Happens Live if you drink. So anyway, Kam Throckmorton, I did not butcher her name, is joining me today. She is a fashion stylist, and I'm really excited about her specifically. And so, yeah, welcome, Kam. Can't wait for you to share your amazing self with our audience.
Excited to be here.
So Kam is a fashion stylist, and you've been doing this for a long time. So talk about your background.
So my degree is actually in social work, which I use more than I would use a degree in fashion because I work with men, but women feeds my soul. So primarily I work with women, and for women, clothes, it's never just about clothes. There's so much deep layered things underneath. And so I've done this for 24 years. And I work with women. It's not so much that people hire me to dress them for a specific event, but it's more people who want to use fashion and style as a storytelling tool to tell the world who they are.
So we're recording this on, I don't even know what day it is. I think it's Thursday. And on Tuesday, I had a branding photo shoot all day. And the clothing part of it was really important to me. And it was because I wanted to do exactly what you're saying. I wanted to portray what I want to be, and the way I wanted to do that was through clothes. So I think it's really cool. And for our listeners, it's a really cool thing to be able to hear from someone who styles people of all sizes. So there's a kind of a stereotype, I think, of sorority girls, and that they all have to be skinny and blonde, and that's what you see on TikTok. But it's not the case. There are people of all shapes and sizes that are in sororities or, obviously in life. And I think being able to style them effectively and so that they can project what makes them unique and genuine in that environment as well as any environment, going for jobs or whatever, is so important. And so that's why one of the reasons I'm so excited that you're here today, so that you can hopefully help people. I don't know if the correct term is plus size, or you told me the other day, but I can't remember. What is the correct?
So I'm 6'2", and currently I'm about a size 16, 18, and anything over a size, it varies. There's really no standard industry definition, but it's usually like around a 14 and up is considered plus size. And 67% of American women are size 14 and up. So majority of women in America are considered plus size. That's really my why, is because I've been 6'2" since the 7th grade. And I noticed at a very young age that if I had on something interesting, people would comment on my creativity or my style. And I liked the way that felt better than somebody pointing out to me that I was big or tall or whatever, phrase that they would say to me that I didn't like, because I can't control. I mean, I love being tall, but I can't control that. I didn't do anything to be tall. I just am tall. So it's a very awkward conversation that people feel the need to point out to me that I'm tall. And so if I have on something interesting, then that's usually what they lead with. And going back to connections, I have made some of the greatest connections because good clothes open all doors. And I don't mean expensive clothes. I don't mean name brands. I mean intentional storytelling with your clothes in every aspect of your life, whether it's sorority rush, a job interview. For me, I have a 6-year-old daughter. I intentionally dress for drop off in the morning at 7:45 in the morning. I can get ready in 4 minutes. So I'm not going in with a statement necklace and all the things, but I am intentional with my outfits in every aspect of my life. And for me, it's very easy because I've built a wardrobe that makes it easy. And that's what I want for all women. The real gift in my career is that I have worked with women of all sizes and all socioeconomic. I mean, obviously they had to be at a place where they could hire a stylist, but the woman who I worked with who was the most painfully insecure that it was crippling lived in a mansion in Buckhead. She physically fit all the descriptors of what society would say a woman should look like to be attractive. And she sat in her closet and sobbed because one of her toes was longer and she thought it was too long, that it was crippling for her to be able to go out in the world. So there's no correlation in my experience, there's no correlation between confidence and appearance at all. So that is all inner work that you have to do yourself. But yeah, so that was a very long-winded answer to your question about plus size. But it's something that I'm just so passionate about.
Well, and I say that a lot of times. I say it in my book. I say it all the time. The people who people are attracted to, and in my book, I talk about Rush, obviously, but they're not attracted to you because of the brands you're wearing. And they're attracted to charisma and confidence. And if you can give someone that, it does not matter what size they are. And I say that all the time because that is, like I said, the stereotypical, that's what people are, when the haters go online and they talk about sorority girls, they're like, you have to be skinny and blonde and blah, you have to be a certain thing. But it's not that. It's the people that are sure of themselves, and doing that through clothes is a really cool thing. And you use the word intentional a lot in that little TED Talk you just did.
Sorry.
I'm just teasing you.
Yeah, I feel preaching for the rooftops.
No. But you use the word intentional, and that is the crux of my business, is you have to be intentional if you want to reach your goals. And the way to do that, or the way to reach your goals, is by preparing intentionally and doing some inner work. And it really has nothing to do with your size, in any situation. I don't think it does. And I know there are people who disagree with us, but I will stand by this to my grave, that it's all about how you present yourself. And that is what attracts people to you. That's what makes people give you jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So tell me, I know the answer to this, but I think it's really cool. And when you were talking about it earlier, I remembered watching this show, and I have a friend who I kept thinking, gosh, she needs to be on it. So tell me what you styled your business, or how you created your business, or whatever the word is.
So I started 24 years ago, and it was based off of the show What Not to Wear, the British version. And I actually think they were a little bit kinder than the American version. And I have a lot of kindness and compassion in my work because there's a lot of vulnerability to invite someone into your world, into your closet. So I'm not catty or unkind like they had to be, I think, for TV. But it's really giving people a framework, develop their own personal style. And there's so many, there's a Kibbe body type. There's what fruit is your body shaped like? There's all kinds of tests you can take. And I think that those can really give you a framework of what looks best on your body, really from a scientific standpoint. We are, as humans, we're drawn to symmetry. And so we're drawn to the shape of an hourglass. And so when you talk about dressing something that's flattering, it's usually going to mimic a hourglass shape. It's kind of like learning any art, and I think that style is art. You have to know the basics of painting and color. If you're going to be a painter, you have to know how colors blend and that sort of thing. So you have to know the rules before you can break them. So I think all of those guidelines can really help you. Something that forever was so hard for me is that they would say, oh, you're just curvy. You should follow curvy rules. Well, I'm actually not curvy. I'm a size 16, 18, and I'm straight up and down. And I would do better to follow the rules of like a Cameron Diaz or somebody who is more straight up and down, even though she's a lot smaller than me, than I would following the rules of somebody who's curvy like an Oprah Winfrey or a Kim Kardashian. Those rules don't work for me. So I think it's important to know those rules so then you can break them with intention.
So can you give us a little class, like not a class, but can you tell us those rules? Do we have time for that?
Well, so the thing is, I think there's like 40 of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't want to hear 40 rules.
We'll be here till Thursday. There's a book that I use, and it's very old, and the outfit suggestions are ridiculously antiquated, but it's called The Science of Sexy. And it's broken down. You put in your measurements because it's your hips, your shoulders, your waist, and your bust measurements. And then it takes into account your weight, and it takes into account your height. And then it tells you your rules. So that's just the starting point. So for me, because I don't have any curves, I am supposed to wear like a higher waisted peplum something, like an empire waist is best for me. But from a style perspective, that doesn't fit the story I want to tell. So I've learned how to mimic that line. And I usually, if I'm standing up, I will wear a longer necklace that hits me right about here.
Which she's pointing to.
Like a few inches under my bra line. So where an empire waist dress would hit me is where I draw attention to. But usually I'll do it with like a long pendant necklace or something that fits my style more so than a empire waist. Again, there's so many different factors that come into play.
So the Science of Sexy that's a cool thing to know.
And there's a million other ones that I'm sure are fine. I just like that one. That's the one that I use.
Plus it's always, I love a good like throwback. Like I've been getting, some of my college friends have been sending me memes about sorority girls like in the 80s, and it's hilarious. I mean, like what we wore and what we did. So speaking of that, I forgot, guess what, y'all? Kam was, drumroll, what sorority were you in?
Chi Omega.
Yes, so she was a Chi Omega. She did a college tour, but yeah, so she was a Chi Omega, and then she transferred to Georgia. And I want you to tell the story you told me at lunch about what happened.
I went to all the colleges in Georgia, and I ended up at UGA, and I ran into a friend of mine who we had gone through Rush together at Mercer, and she was in my pledge class, and we were good friends. And we were in person, and she said, "You have got to affiliate. You would love it. The girls here are great." And so I It wasn't something that I really thought I wanted to do, but she just sold it to me and I adored her. So I said, great, I'd love to come meet the girls, talk about it. She called me like 2 days later and still was, pitching it hard. And I said, great, you let me know a time to come. And then I didn't hear from her. And like a few days went by and I didn't hear from her. And so I called her, I think like 3 or 4 times.
This was before cell phone, Jill.
Before social media.
Before texting,
all the things. But I never heard from her again. So I literally don't know if she died or if I don't know. I mean, it was like she uncovered some horrible scandal about me, which I'm not that interesting. So there wasn't any scandals. So I have no idea. And so it really resonated in some of the stories that I've heard you tell about just being so dumbfounded, in the rush and in the sorority world of like what happened and, kind of wanting to know. And it's funny, I hadn't thought about that story until you and I connected, drink if you drink. And it was so interesting to me and so kind of mirrors my story. Like you just don't understand and you don't know what happens sometimes. And that's the OG of ghosting right there. Right.
So yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you, but it's also probably given you even more empathy. I was talking to someone this morning, a client, and she was talking about, I was not trying to be a therapist, but she was talking about this childhood trauma. And I was like, I feel like that helps shape you to why you're so unique and great now. And you said you're not that interesting, but you're very interesting.
Yeah. I'm not interested enough to have a scandal that would keep me out of the sorority, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, no scandals, but you're interesting for sure. So yeah, so I feel like one thing that we talked about at lunch was, and I keep saying at lunch, y'all, because I despise going to lunch. Like in the past when people have wanted to do a birthday lunch for me, I'm like, ugh. Which I'm grateful that they want to do something, but I'm more of a go out in the evening cocktail kind of person because during the day, I don't want to be intentional about what I'm wearing. And I don't want to eat a lot in the middle of the day. I never have. So anyway, when Cam reached out to me, I was like, and asked me to go to lunch, I was like, okay. Because I really wanted to meet her and hang out with her, but I keep saying lunch because that is like a triggering word for me. Lunch is triggering because I do not. So wait, I was asking you something. Oh no, I was going to say, when I used to take photos of girls or families, whatever, I was a portrait photographer for a while in one of my many iterations before I found my calling, my work calling. And I would have girls show up and they would look great from the front. And then they would turn around and it was a lot of times really bad. So do you have like any tips? I don't want to put you on the spot. I know that I don't want 40 of them, but like any tips for making sure that you are looking great from all angles? I mean, obviously a mirror, but.
Yeah, a full length mirror is important. And then just fit. Like fit is so important. And fit doesn't mean wearing your size. And fit doesn't mean.
What do you mean fit doesn't mean wearing your size?
Fit does not mean wearing your size. I think sometimes the coolest things you can wear are 2 sizes bigger than your size. Now, that is said through the lens of a stylist who is can be very intentional about wearing a very oversized blazer, who knows all the tricks about pushing up your sleeves. That does not mean throw on your oversized hoodie and then call it a day.
Right.
But also, I've worked with so many women who are like, yay, I'm so excited these size 6 jeans fit. That is so stupid. That is the stupidest, lamest way to dress, is focused on your size. I have clothes that I love that are a size 22, and I have clothes that I love that are a size 14, and I'm neither one of those sizes. I'm not a 14 and I'm not a 22, but I will wear the whole range of clothes because all that matters is the fit of it. And if you don't like what the size says on the inside, then just cut it out if you're that serious about it. But yeah, it's fit. It's making sure that, that dress that you love, well, can you sit down in it? Those shoes that are wonderful that you're going to wear to the wedding that kill your feet in your closet before you leave the house, don't wear those because you're going to be the one on the dance floor barefoot at the end of the night. So buy shoes that you can wear all night. Dresses that you can sit down in. If something looks great from the front, but it's pulling crazy in the back, then that's not your dress. That's not your blazer. That's not what you should be wearing. You are a 360 person and you need to be mindful of all aspects of it. Also, so many times I'll work with a client and they'll look fabulous and they'll look in the mirror and every woman has a tell. I can tell when they love it. They'll immediately love it, and then they'll hone in on that one area that they don't like, because we all have them. And they'll say, oh, this makes my stomach look big or my thighs look big. Like, nobody cares. Nobody thinks you're that special that they're going to dissect your outfit like you're going to. Like, if you're lucky, they look at your face, they look down at your feet, and they come back up. That's all that they're giving you, because they're too focused on their insecurities. So if you are not wearing something that you love because your one toe is longer than the other, you're just missing out on so much of the fun of getting dressed. And getting dressed should be fun.
Yes, I agree. And that's so I wish I'd heard this before. I was just on a TV show and they interviewed me for 2.5 hours, and I bought this dress I just bought it because I liked it, but then I decided to wear it on the TV show, and I did not sit down in it before to test it. But then there was a 2.5 hour interview where my dress is gaping. It fit me, but it was button up and it did not fit me when I was sitting down. And it looked great standing up, but I will tell you the reason I bought it was because it was a small. And that is exactly what you're saying. I should not have, and I should have tested the sitting down thing. So yeah, that's a really good tip, especially if you're going to be interviewed on TV for 2.5 hours.
Yes.
But for anybody, that's a really good tip for sure. Because I just think, and I do struggle with that, because I spent a couple years working really hard to lose weight, and I've maintained it for a while, but I'm still kind of in that headspace where if it's a certain size, I'm like, oh, I don't want to wear that. And I won't buy an extra large anymore, just because of that. So I probably should. But I got my own hangups. We're not talking about that.
Well, we all have our own hangups, but also I'll say this: if there's something that you want to buy and you won't buy it in an extra large if that fits you better, it's probably not that interesting. Like, my favorite place to shop is a thrift store, and I head straight to the men's department, and I buy, I'm sure, like a very large man's blazer. And there have been so many times that I'll be like at a party on Sea Island, and I'm just waiting for like a man who's probably 60 to come up to me and say, I think I donated that blazer. And you know what? I'm going to give him a hug and say thank you, because I love wearing it. So we got to get out of our heads and all of these frameworks that we have in our heads, what makes great style, because it's not the size, it's not where you bought it, it's not the brand, it's just not.
Yes. And that I want to shout that for the people in the cheap seats. It is not about brands. But again, do as I say, not as I do. I am a complete brand person. When we had lunch the other day, I looked down and I was like, wait, I have on all like designer brands, and it was a little overkill, but I was not dressing intentionally. But I love a good brand just because, I don't know why, but it is not about brands. It's about looking and feeling your best, and the fit, and how that is how you present yourself. So yeah, so talk to me about how people can find you, Kam.
So you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Glam Kam with a K, style. And then my website is also glamkam.com.
Glamkam, GLAMKAM.com. She always looks really cool. And when I first met her, or when all of us first saw her at the Southern Coterie, the Southern Sea Conference, she was wearing this blazer that I think she's referring to.
That was actually my husband's, but yes, it was a man's blazer.
Blazer with a belt, and then this fringed silver skirt. And I mean, she was the belle of the ball. Everybody wanted to get to know her. And that's cool, because I know now that was very intentional for you, and you were in a room with a lot of people who wanted to meet you. And that's, I'm sure, made a lot of connections for you. And it was because of, the initial impression was because of what you were wearing. But then, as they got to know you, they realized how amazing you are.
Well, thank you. And that, my career is fashion. I breathe, think, and eat, fashion, and style. And I also think it's not that important. Like, there are so many more important things in the world. It just opens all doors. So it's a really great tool, but it's also not that serious. It should be fun.
It should be fun. And that's a great takeaway for it. So I hope you guys, if you want to present yourself in the very best way intentionally, reach out to Kam, and thank you so much for being here. It was great to see your face, and y'all, she's doing this from her closet. I can't wait for you to see it on video. That is your closet, right?
It is my closet.
I was going to say, because if you have all that stuff in, and it's very organized, which I love, but if you have all that stuff in a room of your house with your husband, he probably would run screaming from the house.
Well, he's pretty cool and he wouldn't, but most people would. So, but this is my own little space. And I do want to say that even though I live in St. Simon's, I work virtually. Most of my clients are virtual.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, but then I didn't want to put you on the spot. So that's really good to know. So you work virtually. That's key, because St. Simon's is a little place.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I happen to be here right now also, but that's great to know. I did not know that. So great.
Yes, most of my clients are in Atlanta or other places. But
awesome. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I love that we have this connection.
Me too. Thanks.
Welcome to Time Out with Tricia. Because can you really give advice if you don't speak about yourself in the third person? I don't think so. This is exactly how I speak to my clients. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. Now let's get into it. Okay, if you don't know by now from listening to this podcast, you will never get it through your thick heads that I do not believe that you need to spend a lot of money on your rush clothes in order to have a successful rush and to put your best self forward. There are clothing rental places, and you can thrift, like Kam said. There are many ways to save money and not spend a ton of money on your outfits. What is important is how they fit and how you feel in them. But that does bring up a good point. You should be aware of the financial obligations of being in a sorority and going through rush. So you are going to have to pay a registration fee, which varies from school to school, to register for rush. You're going to have to figure out your budget for your rush outfits, no matter what that budget is. You are going to have to pay for your senior pictures, which you're going to use for rush. Also, if you choose to use us, we obviously think that we are worth the money, but it is a significant investment to have us as a rush consultant. I'm happy to send you information on what the cost of that is. It's also a main reason why I wrote my book, The Rush Bible. It's coming out in May, which will give you plenty of time to get that information for your upcoming fall rushes. But once you're in a sorority, there are fees that are attached to being in a sorority, and those also vary widely from school to school. Some schools have those real life Barbie dream houses, and there's a lot of money that it takes to upkeep those. You'll have financial obligations for social events and just for fees for being in a sorority. So once you know where you're going, it would be a great idea for you to go onto your school's Panhellenic website and or the individual sorority websites to see what the financial obligations are for pledging a sorority at your school. So we are here for you if you have questions, if you need anything, but this is all part of your intentional preparation. You need to know what it looks like to be in a sorority financially. And that's it for Time Out with Tricia. We'll see you on another episode of the Mad Rush Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Mad Rush Podcast. If you are enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. For additional Rush tips, updates, and more, please follow me on Instagram at Rush with Confidence. If you would like to reach out to us or for more information, please email info@madrushpod.com. This podcast is produced by Collier Landry and Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Trisha Addicks.